Yo, what's good boys? Welcome to episode 2 of the Travis Scott Blueprint. Today we're looking at Mike Dean. It's going to be a super informative episode. It's going to be so fun. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy it. Before we start though, I do need to ask you guys to do 2 things for me. First one is going to be to leave a like on this video right now below. Click the like button right now. The second thing is I need you to hit the subscribe button. And a bonus is to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of these uploads. So before we jump into the video, this one is sponsored by ARTURIA. You probably already know them already. They created Analog Labs, as well as a lot of other stuff. They have done me a huge favor. Those vintage synths are gonna come in handy, like big time. They've also sent me Mini Lab. This thing is so crazy because it basically can take on the form of any of the vintage synths in Analog Lab, and it's so cool. Like you can fully just sound design with it. It's amazing. Like and it's actually a really high quality MIDI keyboard. I'm gonna leave a link to Analog Lab and also the Mini Lab down in the description, so please do check that out. They are a big supporter of the channel and I really do appreciate it. More on that very soon. Let's get into the video. Mike Dean is a Grammy Award winning producer, engineer and songwriting genius from Houston, Texas. He is responsible for some of the most innovative and creative music to come out in the last 2 decades, working with the likes of Kanye, Jay-Z, Beyonce and of course Travis Scott. Mike Dean is known for his heavy incorporation of vintage and analog synths in his work. If you take a look at his studio, it's hard to see anything but. Arguably, Mike is the reason that synths and the vintage sound are making a huge comeback in music. From what I can see, he is most fond of the Moog line of synths, such as the Grandmother Moog, Voyager and the Sub 37. But from the videos you're seeing now, you'll also spot Prophets, Junos and more, so it's safe to assume he has and will use anything. Before we start looking at how we can achieve the Mike Dean sound, despite not having the access to the arsenal of synths that he has, let's take a quick listen to some of his best work so we can get inspired and hear what it is we are aiming for.
I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich. Throw that to the in the city moving slow. 3500 for the coat. Only real niggas keep you flow. Only true niggas I know.
So, must-haves for a Mike Dean style beat. We're going to start with vintage synths. Of course, you must have some kind of vintage synth element in there. Most people, including myself, are not going to have access to these vintage synths in real life, but thankfully, there's a lot of VSTs out there you guys can get your hands on, including Analog Labs, which Mike Dean actually does use himself, so that's a good sign that it's actually very good. Vintage synths, get your hands on them. Next we've got saw wave or square wave sounds. Now I've just been doing some analysing over the last few days on Mike Dean's sound design. I found that a lot of his sounds are either saw wave or square wave based, so if you're sound designing or you're choosing sounds, just bear that in mind. Aim for those kind of sounds there. If you don't know what a square wave or a saw wave is, there's a little diagram on the left for you. Next we've got distorted synth bass. This one's a kind of a no-brainer. Yeah, if you're going to use a synth bass in your beat, you want to distort them a little bit. There's loads of plugins for that are great, you know. I'm sure every DAW has its own distortion plugin, so. Next we've got Moog sounds. Now Moog is a line of synths if you don't already know. We spoke about it a bit in the intro. Mike Dean loves Moog basically, so if you can include any sounds from Moogs, then that's a bonus. We use Omnisphere because Omnisphere has some nice Moog sounds in it. One of the basses I love to use, Boxy Moog, was one of them. Next we've got major scale chords. With this melody I went with the C major scale. You want to do something similar if you're going for the Mike Dean style, just because a lot of his melodies are in major. I've heard a lot of his synth lines and everything, and yeah, mostly all of them are in major, so yeah, definitely look into using the major scale, but we'll get into that in the video. An interesting effects chain. Basically a must-have for most beats, but I just thought I'd throw this in there as well. You want to, go for that more unique style. That's basically Travis Scott all over. So yeah, we used Effects Rack for this, just creating a really nice, unique sound on our melodies, just taking them to that next level with the effects chain. So yeah, stuff like delay, phasing, detuning, distortion, all that good stuff. So yeah, bear that in mind. Okay, so today's producer chat is all about VSTs. What is your favorite sound VST? So sound generator. Let me know what it is and why. Let's talk about it. For me, I'm gonna go Analog Labs. Once upon a time, I would have said Omnisphere, but for me recently, Analog Lab has been just amazing. I love it so much. So yeah, that's me. Let me know what is your favorite and why. Let's talk about it down in the comments. So we know exactly what it is we need to do now. Let's get into making this beat. Let's get it. So to start this beat off, we are going to be sound designing a little bit. Starting off, we're using a Juno. Mike Dean has his own Juno. He loves the Juno. We're going to be creating a pad. This sound is made up of a square wave with the added sub wave included as well for that added body. One of the key components of the pad is the ADSR. The attack is fairly low at around 350 milliseconds to give it that smooth sound, as well as the sustain being almost all the way up. And what gives this preset its movement, like the little wobble you're going to hear, is an LFO modulation, just because we want to play long chords of it. The release should be around the same as the attack, just to create that nice tail once the note is released. So once the pad is done, it sounds like this. Next, we're going to be using the boxy Moog sound from Omnisphere to create a nice bouncy little synth bass pattern right here. Next, we have got a preset from my Analog Colors bank, which is completely unreleased. We called upon Sound Shifter just now to get a little preview of what this melody sounds like in a different key, and it sounds amazing, so I changed it. This is another preset from Analog Lab. This is a nice little piano sound that we made for Analog Colors. It's just for a nice little top line melody. And right here, we're just putting on a little decapitator to our synth bass that we've got so far, just to give it a bit more punch. You know, Mike Dean loves to have a distorted bass, so it only makes sense to do it with that. So you can probably hear that nice little whizzing sound, and that is due to another effects rack, specifically a phaser. So onto the drums, and with the drums for this beat, you really don't need to worry too much. I just went for a very simple trap sort of drum pattern, just like you'd hear in most Travis Scott songs. I'm currently using the drum collection, which gives you everything you need for all types of genres, and this is just the trap kit inside of that kit. So if you do want to get the drum collection, also leave a link down below. Check it out. So right here we're using Jupiter to sound design a little bass that we're going to use. This is made up of a square wave and a sawtooth wave combined. The ADSR is, as you would expect from a bass, you know, virtually an instant attack, sustained all the way up to carry the note as long as you want, and then an instant, you know, release, so it just falls off instantly, so it can just blend nicely from one note to the next. If you guys do want to get the pad that we made and also the bass that we made in this video, all you got to do is check the link down in the description. I'm giving them to you guys completely free, no strings attached. All you got to do is put in your name and details, and you can get them sounds right now, just as a little thank you to you guys for the support. So here's what that sound sounds like. We just copied our other bass note melody over, so we're using the same notes. Sounds like this. So here I thought I'd add a little guitar from Flex. This one right here is super cool. We use the Mini Lab to actually modulate the pitch a little bit, just to give that guitar that nice detune effect. So to process the guitar, I always like to use Guitar Rig. I just rendered it out just now so it's a waveform, and then stuck a nice little Guitar Rig preset on it. So here we're just structuring the beat out now, standard stuff, just organising it, getting the beat ready to be finished. This is a little bit of sauce. Actually, this effects rack preset is crazy. I put it on my guitar and it gives it that synth feel, which I love. And that is basically the final beat done. Let me know what you guys think. So that is basically the beat done. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the second episode of the Travis Scott Blueprint. It's been super fun making these videos so far. I'm really enjoying myself. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos too. If you want to support the channel, all you got to do is click the subscribe button below, and also leave a like on this video and support future episodes that come out on this channel. Follow me on my Instagram at ProdbyJack, and if you want to get any of the sounds we use in this beat, all you got to do is look at the description and find what you need. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.